Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where we give you all of the latest gaming news. And over the last year, there's been a lot of discussion on whether or not Sony would support the PlayStation 4 going forward. They've been sending very mixed messages regarding this topic, but we may have gotten our answer today yet again. Also, there were some reports about a month or so ago that Sony is sidelining their Japanese support. There were several questions on whether or not this report was true, but we may have gotten further evidence today that Sony will be focusing less on Japan this generation. There will be some good news with that as well, so stick around for that. As always though, we've got plenty of things to talk about today, including Xbox and CyberPunk, but let's start it off with a highly anticipated fighting game. So King of Fighters 15 got announced quite a while ago at I believe EVO 2019, and if you like fighting games a lot, there's a very good chance you're really excited about this game. With that in mind though, we haven't really seen anything about King of Fighters 15 just yet. Really the only thing that we know about this game so far is pretty much the name, but it looks like we're not going to have to wait much longer to find out more. Yeah, we got a new teaser trailer today that shows a few of its characters, but the more exciting part is that they intend on showing a complete gameplay reveal on January 7th. This will apparently go over some of its key gameplay changes, and who knows, we might end up hearing more about some of the characters coming to King of Fighters 15. Now, I do like fighting games a lot, so I'm hoping we get some kind of release in 2021. I think this would be a great fighting game to have for these new platforms. We don't really have a big new fighting game yet, and this could fill the void. To be fair, we also know Street Fighter 6 is in development, so it looks like the FGC has a lot to look forward to. Let me know though, are you excited to see King of Fighters 15 next month on January 7th, and what characters would you like to see in the game? Moving on, Rare decided to post a video about Sea of Thieves and their new seasonal battle pass. Yeah, you'll be able to get more content with this season pass, and speaking of that, this isn't an intriguing title. When Sea of Thieves first released, it was a bit bare bones, and both the community and critics alike criticized this game for that reason. With that said, however, it was still a really good game with plenty of great ideas. Really, the only thing that it needed was just more things to do, and Rare delivered on that aspect. Since it first released, they have added in a ton of content, and it's slowly become one of the best and most successful Xbox games ever. So check this out, Sea of Thieves had 11 million unique players in 2020. That is extremely impressive, but here's the cool thing. I know some fans wonder how successful Xbox is on PC, or if they're making the right decision by supporting PC with their first-party games. Well, according to Rare, there's a 50-50 split with PC and Xbox players for Sea of Thieves. That's actually insane. I mean, I knew it was doing good on Steam, but it actually does just as well there as it does on Xbox, and that's exactly why Xbox supports PC. There is a very large crowd of the PC fanbase that will support Xbox games. I would be curious to see how some of their other games are doing since releasing on Steam though. I know the Master Chief Collection, Grounded, and Flight Sim all did well in there, so I'd be curious to hear the split on those as well. Nonetheless, this is great news, and as always, I like the inclusion of PC. Not only does it support Xbox for them to better their games and Xbox Game Pass, but it also allows more people to play games, and I'm always happy about that. In other news, CyberPunk 2077 is out in just 1 week. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to get delayed again, as some fans were speculating, and actually, it's already broken street date. I guess Best Buy pressed that delivery button just a little too early, as a couple of people reportedly already got their collector's edition. Now, if you do get your copy early, do keep in mind not to post videos. CD Projekt Red has already responded to the situation and says they will take those videos and streams down. Instead, you'll have to wait until December 9th at 12 p.m. Central Eastern Time, and then you're good to go. Honestly, they've always done a pretty good job at that type of stuff. They're even taking into consideration music can be against the rules on places like Twitch, so they have streaming options within the game. I like that, and it's a pretty good idea. I don't stream myself, but if I ever did, it's nice to have options like that. Nonetheless though, if you're worried about spoilers or anything like that, I would be a little careful going forward. For everybody else, however, the release date is still set for December 10th, and I'm expecting a Game of the Year caliber game. Next up, let's talk about PlayStation. PlayStation's messaging this year has been all over the place. Now, to be fair, the PlayStation 5 is pretty awesome. I think it's a great console with really good launch games. I already got the Platinum Trophy for both Astro's Playroom and Demon's Souls because I like them that much. I rarely do that type of thing, but even then, Sony has been strange to say the least when it comes to their messaging. Earlier this year, they said that they believe in generations, implying that they would not be supporting the PlayStation 4 going forward. Meanwhile, Xbox was taking a lot of heat over their stance on cross-generation games. Well, that was all fine and everything, and it gave people a good reason to jump into the PlayStation 5 early on. The thing is, since then, on several occasions, they've mentioned supporting the PlayStation 4. Of course, Sackboy and Spider-Man Miles Morales are also available on the PlayStation 4, so clearly they still support both. What about after launch, though? Well, Jim Ryan in the past alluded to supporting the PlayStation 4 for multiple years to come, so there has been a very mixed message with this entire situation, and that continues to this day. So in a recent interview with Edge, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan was asked about cross-generation games and whether or not he was concerned that would hold developers back from taking full advantage of the new hardware. Now his response was very telling, so let's take a listen to what his response was. "We do feel that we have the responsibility to that very large community and an opportunity to carry on making great PlayStation 4 games for as long as the need is there. And I think that is the right thing to do. It's the rational thing to do, and I think you will see a tell with the PlayStation 4 that you did not see with PlayStation 3. But that said, as time passes, you're going to see more and more emphasis on PlayStation 5 development, and the PlayStation 5 SKU will be the lead SKU." So there you have it. It sounds like on a game-by-game basis, they will absolutely support cross-generation games. I mean, this isn't overly surprising as we already knew about Horizon Forbidden West, which will be available on the PlayStation 4, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with games like God of War Ragnarok and Gran Turismo. Jim Ryan not long ago refused to say if Ragnarok was going to be a cross-generation game or not. To me, that sounds like there's a very real chance of it being available on the PlayStation 4, but we'll still have to wait and see. Now, there are some complete PlayStation 5 exclusives though. You have Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, and the upcoming Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Both Astro and Rift Apart seems to be designed around the PlayStation 5, and they wouldn't be possible on the PlayStation 4, so that does make sense. I think it's the more traditional games that aren't designed around these features that could end up being cross-generation titles. Now, I do want to say, I don't think that's a problem. Games do scale up and down rather well, as we've seen already, and because there are millions of PlayStation 4 consoles out there still, I think it's logical to support both. For me, the problem has just been with Sony's messaging regarding this topic. They should have just came out day one and revealed their plans, but they seem to be intentionally vague when it comes to this topic. I mean, I get it and everything. I know not everybody agrees with cross-generation games, but it's like a band-aid. Just rip it off and then deal with it. That's not what's being done here, however, but it does at the very least seem like more PlayStation 4 games will come on a game-by-game basis. As to what games, that remains to be seen. Sony isn't exactly being foretelling on that situation either. Let me know though, what do you think about Sony supporting the PlayStation 4 going forward? On to our last topic though. Last month, Bloomberg posted a report that Sony was kind of losing faith in Japan as sales continued to decline there, and that they were focusing less on their Japanese games and studios. Reportedly, PlayStation developers in Japan was stating that they were being sidelined, they were losing developers, and there's been cuts over in Japan. It was kind of a bleak report, and they were even saying that Xbox was trying to gain traction over there, which we know for a fact they are trying to do that, and Bloomberg said that they may be looking for a studio to acquire as well. Now that is something that Phil Spencer himself has alluded to in the past, but he did deny this report last month, which was kind of interesting. Since then though, there's been a lot of speculation about this overall report and whether or not it was true. Well, we got some new information today that could be linked to all of this, so let's check it out. The Silent Hill and Gravity Rush creators have announced their departure from Sony to form a new studio. Now this is interesting, not only because of the talent, but this does follow the report of PlayStation putting less emphasis on their Japanese games. Gravity Rush is a PlayStation first-party game developed by Sony Japan. Then you have games like Bloodborne, Astrobot, and The Last Guardian, which Sony Japan worked on as well. So they are very talented, and these departures includes two big developers. You also have the lead designer of Puppeteer, which is a bit of a hidden gem for the PlayStation 3, and they even note that many people they've worked with in the past will be joining them as well. Again, Bloomberg did say that they were reduced to about a third of their peak, so maybe former employees will be making their new home at this upcoming studio. I also wouldn't be surprised if they poached some talent from Sony Japan as well. And that is something else about this announcement. Toyama had this to say, and I think it's very telling on the entire situation. First, I want to fulfill our fans' expectations, but at the same time, I want to go back and enjoy how fun it is to make games. I want to share that feeling to the players. This is what I'll aim for from now on. So if you listen to what he says there, he is implying that he was no longer having fun making games, and again, this kind of goes in line with them getting less support from PlayStation. Now this is just speculation of course, but it does start to add up when you think about it. With that said, that may be unfortunate for PlayStation and fans for Sony Japan, but there's something to be excited about here as well. We know Sony Japan is both talented and extremely creative. That is very clear with their games. They aren't always necessarily the best-selling games, but it adds a nice diversity to the PlayStation lineup, and they're high quality with a lot of love and care. So if they can continue with that in this new studio, that's something for fans to be very excited about. They did say that they're going to continue making games similar to the scale that they've been making already, so it doesn't sound like they're just going to suddenly start making smaller games. I also think Sony Japan will continue to make great games. Astro's Playroom just released and that game was just absolutely fantastic, and I've continuously said that on this channel. I strongly believe they're probably also working on an Astrobot sequel for PlayStation VR 2, and I expect that to be yet another top-tier game. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we could end up getting more good games with this move. I still believe in Sony Japan. I would like to see them get a bigger budget so they could make a big AAA Astrobot game for the PlayStation 5, but I still expect them to make highly polished creative games that we all know and love. However, it does seem like that Bloomberg report was true, and Sony's probably focusing more on the Western audience. That does make sense considering their success outside of Japan, particularly with the PlayStation 4, but let me know though, what do you think about Sony gravitating away from Japan? For me, I'm looking forward to both Sony Japan games and whatever this new studio is working on. They really are very talented, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do and also what platforms they decide to release them on. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.